Are we rolling? I think we're rolling. Hey, this is just going to be a casual kind of, let's call it a catch-up vlog. I'm actually going to give you a shop tour, just because I've been gone for so long, and one of you guys in the previous little video about nails asked about a shop tour, so I figured, yeah, that might be in order. Also, hello, if you've been like one of the old school viewers from back in 2020, 2019, you remember Tormod, right? He's still here, and Bina is still here. I don't know if she was ever in, yeah, she was in videos, yeah. He's 14 and a half, and he can barely walk anymore, but he's still here. So yeah, that's the first update. The dogs are still here. Yeah. He got gray. That's really the only difference. All right, so let's get on a tour. I'm gonna switch the cameras over, and I'll just talk. Okay, so outside looks like this. I have run out of space quite severely. I have my coal stockpile over there. I've got my steel scrap piles and also fresh stock. I also sell some like 1 meter cutoffs now on the web shop for hobby projects and stuff, and they're stored indoors so they don't rust. But yeah, so this is the outdoors. I've got some switch plugs I've secured. Won't need them until I get a bigger shop space. Right now I'm about 80% over capacity in terms of the tools I have. So I had a class this weekend, so that's why all the anvils are out. If I'm working on other things, I have to remove all the anvils. But come in the gate here, right? The first thing you're met by is a pile of anvils. Let's start from one side. So we got one of the class forges. Got a storage with all stuff. Not really. Like, this is my the pile of things to make fire with. So my tinder and charcoal and stuff. Got a little bit of steel for the classes. That's the scrap steel we use. The different lengths that are too short for much of anything else. More steel, more coal. My forge, as you may remember it, it's holding out all right. That's a new addition. That's my new-ish power hammer. I've had it for about a year. Bought it off of a very talented blacksmith. Shout out to, his name is Lars Mørksmedje. He's used this for 12 years. I just want to point out, 12 years is twice as long as I have forged in total. So he has twice as many years on that machine as I have in total as a blacksmith. And the learning curve is very steep. It's a very nice machine. It's Danish made. It's from Roskilde Hammerfabrik. We didn't make a lot of power hammers in Denmark, but we did make some. And it's belt driven. Had a lot of trouble finding a new belt for it because they wear out, they get old, they break, and then you need new belts, and you can't buy those belts anymore anywhere pretty much. I did find someone who's or a store that still sells it. And one of the problems with it is that where he had it, the motor assembly was mounted in the ceiling. I don't have a ceiling. As you may remember, we spent a fuck ton of time removing that 10-ton concrete ceiling, so I don't have a ceiling. So I had to actually make like this frame out of whatever I had. So yeah, that's galvanized. That was fun to weld, and just to make something to attach the motor assembly to. So there are hinges on the back so it can pivot, and then I got this ratchet strap to actually lift up the motor assemble and tension the drive belt. And yeah, so that's how that works. It's then got a fork down here that moves it from the idling wheel to the drive wheel, and it's got the brackets or brakes on it, so it stops fairly nicely. It's about a 40 kilo ram weight. It's a very nice hammer. I've got some tooling made for it. It has shown up in a short or two, a short video on Instagram or something. So yeah, that's it. And then this is my like the pantry over here. That's just a mess because it's where I store everything. I don't know where else to put, and so that's more anvils. There's a pedal-driven forge in there that I brought back from death. It had like 3 blowers on it, like welded on it, on top of each other. And I removed those. The original blower is still good enough. It had all the stuff for it, the drive wheel and all that, and got it working again. So that's quite nice. But yeah, so it's a huge mess. Got a welder sitting there. Got a switch block underneath this thing. This is stuff we use for classes. All my like punches and stuff. But yeah, switch block in a homemade stand for it. I got another switch block, and I got another like one of these. I got the original one right here. It's still going strong. And then there's another anvil. Fly press. I think you guys remember the fly press, maybe. I didn't use it much, but I use it more now for when I do tent pegs and stuff like that. Got another welder. Got a plasma cutter. Yeah. Another pantry-ish thing. Got this thing. I want to upgrade that because that's horrible. But I don't have room for anything else. So one of the big issues with being out of space is I can't buy more stuff. Like I put in on a block. Like I'm not allowed to buy any more machines until I find a new workshop. I've been looking for 2 years now. Yeah. So one thing I want is a good, nice drill press, big, large one that can do a lot of stuff. Can't buy one while I'm here. Also, one of the reasons is I get so much damp because of the air. I'm sorry, I'm looking at myself, which means I'm looking to the side. I should be looking here. So there's a lot. Whenever the weather changes, my entire workspace, everything, all the anvils gets drenched in condensation. It's horrible. I have photos of it on my Instagram, and so all my stuff just rusts, and it's a problem. So I can't buy more stuff, but I have a list of stuff I want and need, welding tables and all that stuff. But yeah, it's a problem. I've been actually looking for a couple of years. We bid on a property, like the first property we looked at, we bid on that. I bid 680k Danish kroner, and the realtor just was like, by law, realtors are forced to take any offer and actually deliver it to the seller. They didn't, because about a year and a half later, 2 years later, it sold for 105,000 Danish kroner less than what we'd bid on it. So that sucked ass, and we've been looking ever since. My family has an old blacksmith shop, where like several people own it together, and they couldn't agree to sell that to me, so that sucks. And I've been waiting now for a little over a month. There's a foreclosure auction there was a foreclosure auction on a property that was perfect. And foreclosure properties are cheap, so I could actually buy this one cash. Assuming no one else went crazy in the bidding, because I've spent fucking like 3 years saving up, so now I've got money. Yeah, that got averted. Like the day I was going to there was like a showing on it. You signed up for the showing. The day, like an hour before the showing, I got called up and was informed that they managed to sell it to someone before the auction. So someone just bought it right from underneath the auction. They just said yes, and I was like, okay. So yeah, that sucks. We looked at another property somewhere. It was a little bit too expensive, but it was like, hey, if we can get the price down, that would be nice. It got sold within a month to be torn down so someone could build a new house. So yeah, that sucked too. What else do we have? My family have properties. My granddad was a farmer, so he has like old farm buildings, and I was like, hey, there's that farmhouse over there. Could I buy that from my grandmother? And they were like, oh no, there's actually like a big company that's buying those now for windmills and solar parks. That's great. It just sucks because now I can't buy them. So yeah, I've been looking. The cheapest kind of production facilities in town. I'm looking outside of town too, but in town the cheapest one is like 1.6 million Danish kroner, and that's not within my budget. So just, it's not easy. It's yeah, I'm looking. If you are local to Hobro and you have a place suitable for a blacksmith shop, I need 100 square meters and no neighbors to complain about the noise. They don't complain here, but I don't want to bother them any more than absolutely necessary, which is why I'm looking for a new place. Yeah, so that's my biggest like issue right now, because I can't stay here. Like, I do not have enough space. It's costing me money. I'm losing money because I don't have space. Rough calculation, I'm using about 40,000 Danish kroner a year on having to move stuff around because it doesn't have any place to sit. Like, just moving stuff around whenever I need something costs me about 40,000 a year, because I spend about a day a month, maybe a bit more, or actually a bit more, but I spend a day a month just moving shit around, roughly speaking. It typically coincides with me having a class, so I have to move stuff around. But yeah. And then there's I have small capacity for classes. I could all my classes are fully booked right now. I've just done 2 fully booked classes. I have 3 more fully booked classes up until April, and I've got people asking for classes this summer that I haven't planned yet. I need more space to do more classes, because it's in the weekend, so the neighbors are annoyed if no one complains yet, but I just don't want to push it, right? They've been so nice allowing me to do this without complaining ever, so I don't really want to just push it until they do. I'd rather be out of their hair before they get too annoyed, especially after I got the power hammer, because I fully expected my neighbor to come flying in the door, but he hasn't. Rest of the workshop. Okay, so I got this is nice. Just for my these quick little storage for the angle grinders. I actually did this because I had a stint for 9 months. I worked a couple of days a week in the old town in Aarhus as their blacksmith, helping their department, steel department, fabrication department, doing stuff. And they had this storage rack, and I was like, I'm gonna make one of those. So I did, and that's nice. It's great. I got a hammer rack here from an old table. Welded some bars across so I can store tongs and hammers, and I want to build on that. Got my rack of top tools. That's nice. Another perk of working at the old town, they throw out a bunch of cool shit. And I've been like this was in their trash. Someone threw this out. It's perfectly functional. I did correct it. It was a little bit bent, so I heated it up, and I want to forge one of them. Like, this is forged. It would be cool to make a replica, but I can't figure out how they do it. But yeah, so that was nice. A lot of cool people work there. It was a nice experience. Got my power hacksaw, that's good. Just put a new blade on it. Actually, I bought one new blade, then that blade broke. And then I bought another one, and this is European made. Much better quality. It is called Viking. Buy Viking. If you have a power hacksaw, buy Viking blade. They're nice. They're differentially hardened, so it's like it's a bimetal blade. So it's soft up here. It's very hard down there. This cuts so much better than my older style of blades that I bought, which is like a no-name brand from a local supplier. I made nail hitters, and the cut where I cut them off, it looks like fucking Damascus, because the cuts from this saw were so aggressive. It looks like layers from Damascus. Even after all the forging, it looks like it's hilarious. But yeah, very nice blades. I highly recommend. They cut so much better than anything else I've ever had on it. That's trucking along. Got another forge. This one has a VFD, variable frequency drive, which is nice. It gives way too much air, so just keep it on low. But yeah, and then, new addition. This was also after working in the old town. They have a different grinder than mine. This is the old one, right? It's not super powerful, that's fine. I use it for knife sharpening and all that jazz. This one is much more powerful. I bought that at auction, and I can just kind of barely fit it in here. This hogs metal like nothing else, so that's why I wanted one. So now I have like a sharpening, fine-tuning machine, and then I have this one to just destroy stuff. And we got another corner of storage and my oven, and I got some extra CO2 for the welder. Polishing machine, I bought 15 minutes from here. An old guy was going to a retirement home. Old blacksmith, and I bought a bunch of his stuff. It was his daughters were selling it off, and they didn't know what anything cost, and so I helped them price everything that they didn't know, because people were okay. Let me just change the camera again. So, running a business, I've really, like, the more I've run this business, the more I've gotten into it. The more I realize it doesn't matter what things cost. Like, I paid 15,000 plus VAT for the power hammer. It's fine. I don't care, right? Because I use that to make money, so it's an investment. It pays itself back. It's fine, right? But holy shit, are people just hawks? This old guy, he's like starting a little bit out of it, right? His daughters don't know anything about anything, and it's just full of people trying to undercut them. They're just like trying to get their stuff for cheap, and this is this guy's life work, right? Just getting ripped, right? So I spent like half a day just walking around, just helping them answer questions about like, what should this cost, what should that cost, and then by the end of the day, I went around and picked some stuff, and I was like, okay, I'd buy this, I'd buy this, I'd buy this, and then at the end of the day, I was like, okay, I'm gonna pay you this for this, and I think I paid, like, I didn't buy the most stuff, but I was probably the guy who paid the most, because I was the only one who was willing to pay what things were actually worth, which is insane to me. And it wasn't too expensive. Like, so for instance, a very good example, a very fun example, I bought, you can't see it, but it's over there in the corner. I bought a bending, like a flat bar bending jig thing, an old machine, you know, and they're fairly expensive from new, and there was this guy who wanted to buy it. No, I was like, and he was like, I'll give you like 400 Danish for it, and I said, I poked the one of the daughters. I was like, that thing should cost 800. I'm just letting you know it shouldn't go for less than 800, because though, like, one thing, they are not made in that quality anymore, and that's what they go for on fucking Facebook Marketplace. Like, this guy's undercut, and he was wild. It was like my age, just running around with, he has his mom with him, and he was just like sprinting around the workshop, just picking stuff up, just like, and it was all just to resell. I asked him, hey, so he was like buying vices and stuff like that. I said, hey, I thought, hey, maybe you're into blacksmithing? Nope, not at all. He was just buying shit to resell. So he was like, oh, he'd buy that for like an amount, and it was too low, and said 800. And he was like, oh, no, right? He didn't know that I'd said that to them, but she went and said, I want 800 for this. And he was like, oh, he wouldn't do that. And I was like, oh, I'll give 800 for it, right? In the background, I'll pay 800. Then all of a sudden, he was willing to pay 800 as well. As soon as someone else was like, hey, I'll pay 800, he was like, oh, then I'll do it too, right? But until then, nope, it was only worth 400 or whatever he was willing to pay, right? Fucking hawks, man. Like, just horrible people. Like, that kind of behavior. Like, one thing is buying, someone puts something up for sale and it's cheap and you buy it, fair enough. When you suggest a price that's specifically, like, ripping people off, fuck you, don't be an asshole. But yeah, so I bought that. So I bought this machine, and I paid like 300 for it. It didn't work. Had the motor pulled apart and had to sand on it and shit like that. But now it works. It was overheating. It's old, but it's fine. And I got this one, forged anvil. I don't know how old it is, but it's wrought iron. It's very clear when you look at it in the light. Look at the layers on this wrought iron. Awesome anvil. I'd actually seen this for sale on Facebook for like a year or something like that. They tried to sell it for 1,200, and I made this for it because it doesn't have a hardy. So that's just a hot cut on a saddle. But yeah, so it's been for sale for a while, and then I saw it there, and I was like, oh, it's you guys who have that. And I just picked it up by the end of the day. Paid 1,200 that they asked, and that's fine. That's a fine price. Could it cost more? Yeah, it could also be cheaper. It's not the cheapest anvil I bought, but it's very nice for a wrought iron anvil that age. Nice stake anvil. I specifically bought it because I wanted to do like medieval reenactment markets and stuff like that, but I just do not have the energy or time for it really to get settled in. But that's the workshop. That's the workshop as it is. You may recognize it and see a little bit of new changes and stuff over the years. Oh, hello, Tomo. Hi, Ben. Hello, doggo. He's a little bit confused. Let's go and take a look at that. That's another dog. So this is so not really anything to show off, but I just wanna. So this is the annex. I've got a little bit of a kind of a showroom, more like a storage area. I just have stuff. Got a bunch of dice. I've got a dice order going to Germany. Got like 2,000 euros worth of dice. I gotta ship there. I gotta make some more. It's not enough. But yeah, so it's just made this for Danish Championship 2023 and won. Yay! Made this for 2024 and lost horribly. I got a 3rd place, but hey. Yeah, so that's just what's going on here. Yeah, hey doggo. So that's just a quick what do you want to call it? I don't know. Yeah, shop tour update, something, just rambling a little bit. Yeah, I really wanted to get out of here in this year, so we'll see what how that goes. I have been lucky with a lot of things, but house hunting or workshop hunting has not been one of them. We'll see. Now I gotta go and get some dice production going. Yeah. Thanks for watching. I'll make some more videos at some point. I'm not gonna promise anything, but well, you know, you'll be surprised. Yeah.